Now I want to talk about theory of opposites. The theory of opposites is the oldest theory. It didn't start with Plato and Socrates. It's the oldest of theories. And it can be found under many different names. You know, we see opposites every day. If you look into this camera right now, you see opposites. You see the ceiling, you see the floor, you see the window, you see squares, you see circles, you see opposites everywhere. The theory is very useful in teaching self-esteem skills to black men in small groups because inmates can identify with opposites in prison confinement. Webster's dictionary defines opposites as, quote, elements that are so far apart as to be totally irreconcilable, end quote. The rubric of opposites permeates all phenomenal matter, real and imagined, biological and non-living. I mean, God is the God of the non-living. Those rocks and trees, everything, all matter has life. The theory, first taught at the Grand Lodge in Luxor in Egypt, undergirds all the social sciences which impact this project. Race, culture, sociology, anthropology, psychology, psychiatry, and spirituality. Understanding the theory is key in effectuating inmate behavioral change. The acute emotional stress prison subculture imposes on inmate life is real. Theories are based on patterns that are observable and immutable. According to Curran and Renzetti, a scientific theory is a, quote, set of interconnected statements or propositions that explain how two or more events or factors are related to one another. These authors divide theories into two categories: macro theories, which focus on the social structure, as opposed to micro theories, small theories, which focus on small groups and individuals. Sometimes you cannot change the big picture. Sometimes all you can make is small, steady, practical steps if you want to experience deep change. The law of opposites, first introduced by ancient Egyptians and further expanded by the pre-Socratics and Aristotle, says that for every phenomenon and energy force, there is an opposite or countervailing force. These polarities help to explain both the intent of this proposal and its subject matter: African American men who are incarcerated, and facilitators who facilitate behavioral change and growth. You got the African American man right here, and you have the facilitator. What do they do? Theory of opposites in race. In her book, the ISIS Papers, I don't have it, it's upstairs someplace. In her book, the ISIS Papers, Frances Cress Welsing says black men in prison are part of a large, dominant culture with its patterns of perception, logic, symbol formation, thought, speech, action, and emotional response conducted simultaneously. Dr. Welsing agreed with physicist Albert Einstein's description of theory as having a unity or wholeness. She writes that her theory of social change was based on a unified theory approach to solving the mental health problems of black people, particularly black men. Dr. Welsing's Crest theory of color confrontation lecture proposes that the clash of races we experience in the world is due to the structural psychologies of mainly two cultures in America, black and white. It is her contention that blacks and whites are genetically polar opposites, and this polarity is played out in world geopolitics. American society, in all areas of human endeavor, sports, entertainment, law, politics, sex, war, religion, education, and economics, She contends that the world power system is engaged in a kill or be killed mentality, manifested through symbols which, if not decoded by African American men in particular, will keep blacks in mental bondage. This prison reality is full of opposites. The theme of bondage and mental freedom, to survive or not to be killed. That's the choice you place that the most black men face in prison when they get up in the morning. You know, am I going to be killed or will I have to kill? That's the polarity. That's the landscape. That's the culture. That's the subculture. Dr. Wilson, a trained child psychiatrist, was involved in symbolic interpretations of children and used this theory to understand the psychological polarities among blacks and whites in America. James Cone similarly notes that of all of the evils that exist in society, racism is one of the most intractable because it is so difficult to name and so easy to deny.